Aloha!
Aloha!
My name is Krista Raalaksmi-Ditten.
And I'm Michael Ditton.
And we are Infinite.
Activation.
Coming to you from
sunny SoCal, southern San Diego.
And today we are going to talk about how to find a job you love.
I love my job.
I love my job. We love our jobs.
We love our jobs.
Yeah.
Sometimes we pull our hair out a little bit, but we love our jobs.
Yeah. And some people say you're lucky, but I think there is more behind it than just luck.
Absolutely.
So that's what we will focus on today. If you get here, please say aloha. If
Aloha.
You get here later, say aloha still.
Aloha still.
Yeah, and also ask questions about the topic.
What are we talking about? You told me to ask a question.
Yeah. Okay. So we have actually some steps to give you what we think would really help you. Then we will talk about our own lives, how we have actually got to that point where we actually do what we love. And when I was just thinking like, okay, what has been the most easiest and kind of the most shortest way to get the job you love, the number one thing is basically to map what is it you like to do so much that time disappears. Basically, it can be also some of your hobbies or something you really love so much that once you start to do it, you kind of like dive into it and you forget the rest of the world. That's simple.
Yeah, and you know, one of the examples, and Crystal's got a little format that we're talking about, but for example, infinite activation. Okay, we are doing something we love, which is sharing with people the things that we've learned over the decades of our experiences. But the cool thing about it is we do things every single day to help make us be the best that we can be, which are things that we can then share with other people. So it's this fun, exciting circle. And yes, it has its moments, but we do what we love because we love to share, but we also love to learn so that we can share, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's a full circle.
It is.
And then once you have figured this out, like let's say, for example, you like to paint pictures. And then the next step would be like, okay, what is the package? How could I like put it into a format or into something what people would love to have? Mm-hmm. And then you figure this out and you implement it and you do it. And that's that simple. And that's where many people kind of get blocked because they say, I don't have this or I don't have that. And then also, I'm not an entrepreneur or whatever. And they just get stuck behind all the excuses. So, but that's, there are lots of ways out of it. So what would you say in that case if someone is like, oh, I really love to paint, but...
Well, let's painting or photography.
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple different things, and you always hear the expression starving artist. It is a challenge sometimes to do those things that are your passion, but if you truly want to expand and grow in it, you can. Paintings, for example, you can do originals and sell originals. You can sell them live. You can sell them on the internet through eBay and these other things. You can turn them into prints. You can sell them.
You can turn them into T-shirts, right, or on the cups,
Yeah, different types of marketing materials.
Or bags,
yeah, even, so there's a lot of different things you can do with that. Even photography. Again, you can do prints, you can do live, or you can upload your great photography into one of the servers out there like Shutterstock or one of the others where people actually pay to use your pictures. So. Mm-hmm. There's options.
Yeah, one lady came to me years ago and she really did those little kind of like cartoon style drawings, mm-hmm. and I really loved them. And she basically had that idea to find a factory where those cartoons could be put on socks. And then the whole line came out of it, like several actually. So that in Estonia, basically, you can buy socks with her cartoons now.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. She licensed her art or her cartoon to somebody to put on different items and sell that as their product. and she gets paid probably to be, she sells that license.
Yeah. So when I go back in time, so now we're going to look into both of our stories, my story and Michael's story. So in the beginning, there are many things we do just to, experience things and get more clarity. Who are we? What do we like? What could those different ways of, doing a job or, expressing yourself be? So I started off as a secretary, and later I worked also in a cheese counter. I had my own company with cleaning business. And only later I started to actually do angel work and energy work and healing and group work and so on. So I had those other experiences in order to also get to know myself and my character, like what works for me. Like being a secretary, I realized after 4 months working as a secretary, it's not fitting job for my character at all. So I'm not the person who can just like sit behind the computer and table the whole like 8 hours. I need to have action. I need to have impulses. I need to communicate with people. I need to go out there. So
but you
really
took a lot of those skills
Yeah.
and used them in all the things that you did after the fact.
Yeah. So you can do the same thing. So see, like, okay, this is not my thing, but I can take some of this and, use it in other things. And as I was also coming into, it wasn't like overnight I started to do work with people. So I was in Norway, and I started to do volunteer group facilitation for spiritual groups. We worked through some books, for 1.5 years, weekly, I was doing that. So think of the experience which I got from that. And that also built up my confidence that, wow, I can actually do something with people and be there for them, and the dynamics activate, and, I can be inspiring for their path.
Sure.
And then from there, different other therapies came to me, and I started to look deeper into that. And then I had more tools to help people. And as I was going, also, of course, it will go deeper and broader, and you can just explore more and more. And I considered myself not really, I only now kind of think back like, oh my God, when I was in Norway, and I had my business company, just like a couple of years ago, I thought like, wow, I already had my business there. But I didn't like think that was even, anything special, but it takes a lot of guts to start something like that, in another country, and also do it so well that, basically this was where my main income came to study. So I financed my studies while doing cleaning jobs. So think of like, what I learned there, so that was really amazing. And my main turning point was actually in South Africa when I didn't get the full funding for my documentary. I ran out of money, and I was like, okay, I have no banana tree behind my house. So if I don't get more money, I will die. So starve, starve to death. And then I was like, oh my God, because I believe in reincarnation, it's like, oh my God, I have to come back and become a baby again and learn to walk and talk, and then, go to school. It's like, oh my God, it's so many years go to waste. I can't make that happen, like I have to get myself together. And I realized then, oh my God, I know all these tools, how to work now with angels, so I can start to offer online consultations for people. And this is what I did. So half of my documentary was financed by my own skills and ways to help people. So, and then they, of course, got the service from me, so they helped me. So both ways, And I was in South Africa. Those people were in Estonia, and I made it through. So really amazing. Like if you think like that, and then realizing, oh my God, if I do what I love, I can actually not only, get paid and get, bread on my table, but I can actually also have fun and enjoy it.
Absolutely. You were doing something that you like to do.
Yeah. So, and then 2007, that was the year where I decided that, okay, now I'm going to really do it seriously. and registered my company in Estonia, which is still active till this day, which is another thing. Many people don't keep things going that long. So I'm really fascinated myself too. And all of those processes I've done throughout all these years, I've learned so much about myself, about my character, and also what do people need and how I can package those things in such a way that they will be helped by my gifts and talents. So amazing journey.
Yeah.
And then you started as with your little red wagon.
I did. I grew vegetables in the backyard, and I loaded up the wagon, and I went around door to door selling fresh vegetables and fruits to all the local neighbors. And
how old were you then?
Actually, that was probably a couple of years before you were born.
Yeah. So, yeah, how old then?
I think I was about 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can imagine, I've seen some pictures of Michael when he was a small boy, you know, this curly hair and long eyelashes. I would just have bought the whole wagon, like just looking at you.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
So cute,
yeah.
Right?
And I had a lot of fun. You know, I enjoyed going around talking to people, and they got great fresh vegetables at a very fair price, and I got to make money.
Yeah.
So,
and then the next thing, can you tell us about this hamburger stand which was there, and you were so persistent, they kind of gave up?
Yeah, you know, yeah, I definitely was persistent. World's Fair Hamburgers, and it was a little hamburger stand right in the middle of a parking lot in a strip mall, and I rode by there on my bike almost every single day, and I smelt the, you know, hamburgers cooking and the French fries, and wanted a job there, and I went in and I asked the managers who happened to be the owners, and they politely said no, and every time I went there, they politely said no, and one day I went in there after bugging them for a month or two, and they said, "You're not going to go away, are you?" And I said, "Nope," and they gave me a job, and I actually helped out enough at 14 years old that they left me alone in the store with, you know, basically supervising another employee while they went and they opened up another restaurant. So
really amazing. And then from there you went to pizza business, right?
I went into the pizza business and started off management trainee with Pizza Hut, and as an assistant manager with another one in California. And
how old were you then?
Pizza Hut, I was probably about 15,
wow,
16.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
A manager.
Yeah, well, Pizza Hut, I was assistant manager trainee, and then I was an assistant manager at the other one, probably 17, 18 years old.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you had some thoughts about sales, and then you started in a warehouse.
Yeah, I was dating somebody, and her mother, it was actually my first wife, and her mother thought starting a family, it would be better if I could earn more money, and she introduced me to the company that she worked at, and we talked about a sales position, but there wasn't any open at the time, and I really wanted to do it. So what I ended up doing was hiring on to work in a warehouse and do deliveries and learn the company, learn the products, learn the trade. And then when a position came open, the manager trained me and put me into that position. So I think I was 19 years old when I became a sales representative for that company, and within a short period of time, I became one of their top salespeople, and was enjoying the good life and taking, paid vacations that were benefits of working at the company from the things that I won, and I loved what I did. I loved the products, and it was easy to sell those products. I loved going around door to door and talking to people, and I would take quality products with me, and it was easy to sell.
Yeah. And then you got into real estate, and there also first thing was basically you just wanted to buy a house, but then the person who was selling you a house asked you a very intriguing question.
Yeah, and actually when that happened, I wasn't actually planning on getting into real estate. I wanted to be a real estate investor, and was thinking about buying multiple properties after talking to my friend.
What did he say?
Well, when I said I was ready to buy a house, and this was actually my first, my second first home, because I bought a home when I was younger, and then, times had passed and a lot of things had changed, and I was in a position to buy another home. And when I told him I was ready to buy a home, the first question out of his mouth was, "So what do you want the home to do for you?" And I'd never experienced that question before. I said, I want to buy a home. And he goes, well, you're going to live in it the rest of your life. You're going to live in it for a while, move out and sell it. You're going to live in it for a while, move out, rent it. You want it to make money while you're in it. And he just started asking me a bunch of questions. And it became, an education process, which after I decided to get into real estate, partly because I wanted to do more investing and I thought it was a good place to be, but I truly ended up with a passion for investing and real estate. And part of that was because I could go out and teach people, and that was based on the principles that I had learned from my friend.
Yeah. So
which is what I'm doing again today.
Yeah. And then also when you met me, you started to actually explore more of, the healer in you, and, being there for people and holding space and tantra and, inner family and all of those things. So also realizing you have actually those gifts inside of you too.
Yeah. And I've known that I've had those gifts. I just didn't know
how to use them.
Yeah, I never pursued them, didn't know how to use them. I pretty much ignored them for most of my life. I mean, I was able to use some of those things to my advantage because I had them, but I didn't. It's not like I acknowledged them and I put them to good use until, you and I got together and I became more aware of what the gifts were that I had.
Yeah, so it's like a continuous process. It's not like, it's set in stone, once you find like one thing you like. So it's continuously, there are some new gifts and things which may emerge, and then it's just up to you. You have to figure out like how to express it and how to put it into the form what people need. And this is another thing which I notice oftentimes, when I have clients and they get really fired up about something, or they experience some new things, or they learn some new things, they just think of throwing it out right away, their way, and not really kind of, maybe doing enough market research or just like listening what people need and how they need it. And then, of course, when they just go out like that, then they may, kind of come down with a failure. And that may stop their kind of progress just there. So it's like really good to take it step by step, maybe have a mentor or someone who can, guide you. If you are also kind of like a person saying like, I've never had my own business, I don't even know if I can do it, but I would like to do this and that. So. And
failure is not a negative thing. Failure is a learning process, and you can't allow failure to become your failure. I'm 53 years old. I've been in real estate for 20 plus years, going on 23 years. And I pretty much am starting all over again. We moved to a new area, so I don't have a sphere of influence or a bunch of friends or anything else that I can talk to. I don't know a bunch of business owners here because we don't live here. A lot of things have changed since, I was practicing 12 years ago. So I'm really starting all over again. And I tell you that sometimes it is a struggle to do that because I know I was successful at it before. I knew what it took to get there. I know that I will be again. I just have to, get through that transition period, but it's worth it to me to do that. So, I'm going to take bumps and bruises. I'm going to take setbacks. I'm going to talk to a lot of people that don't want my services, aren't interested in my services, say no to me, hang up on me, do whatever. But I won't let that keep me because I don't need to help everybody. I need to help the people that want to be helped and share what I can to make their transaction in either purchasing a home or selling a home, which is normally the largest investment in anybody's life, be as, hassle-free as possible and educate them and, walk them through the process. So I don't need to help everybody. And along the way, I'm going to get more no's than yeses, but that's okay. That's part of it as well.
Yeah, and this also comes with practice. So what I also maybe meant here mostly is like, when you start out and you get those first rejections or like, things don't go your way, it's very easy to quit. But what we are saying here is don't quit, get a mentor or get someone who can, guide you through those bumps in the beginning, especially if you don't have any experience, because if you find already something which really makes you burn inside and you feel like so amazing while you are doing it, you're definitely already on the right path. Now it's just, you know, to formalize how to make it work in your reality, you know, and connect it to other people, because everything what we create has to be in connection with other people.
Mm-hmm.
So we are not just islands, you know.
Right.
So that's a good thing too, to kind of remember in this process. So.
Mm-hmm.
So today, your homework, of course, is to map then, you know, what are those, you know, things, what you love to be or do. And just, you know, it can be like a list of 10 things. And just kind of think really freely. It doesn't need to kind of, you know, produce money right away. It's just a starting point that you like figure out like, okay, I like to play with the clay. So just write it down, and then you will figure it out how you can, you know, do it. So I just recently did in Estonia, one of the times I went to a workshop where the lady was doing, it was a workshop about to think about your dreams, and then you got this clay and you started to kind of formalize it into your dreams, like what would it be? And I made this little abundance bowl, you know, that if I have this abundance bowl, then all my dreams will be fulfilled. So, you know, it's a really beautiful way to work with something very simple, you know, playing with the clay, like how can I make, you know, turn it into money? So you have to be very creative.
Yeah, and you can be creative. Like, I love playing golf, and quite honestly, I would have loved to pursue being a golf pro. I played junior PGA when I was a kid, but I know what type of time and dedication that takes, and that's not something I'm prepared to do. So when we were in Hawaii, I wanted to play golf, and on the golf course there, normal height of the season rates were like $100 a round of golf. It's kind of crazy. So what I ended up doing was I went to work at the pro shop for a couple days a week, and I made money at the pro shop in an environment that I love to do, and I got to play good free golf. So I saved basically $400 a month by playing golf for free, and I got paid to be there in the weekend. So it was like, you know, $800,000 a month plus for me. So, you know, and it was no skin off my nose to go to work for a couple of days at the pro shop. So, you know, there's a lot of different ways.
Yeah. Or for example, for you also, you love sailing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Also go to work with anything to do with boats or
Sure.
like ocean or people, you know, connected to ocean. So, you know, the thing is, when you choose things which are connected to also all of those things you love, what happens is that you have less resistance. And when you have less resistance, things will be more enjoyable, and also when it's also connected to your self-value, they will come easier to you. So you don't have to put that much effort into it. So,
so anything's possible.
Yeah. So first map, you know, what those things are. Then the second one is to think of like, okay, what could I offer? What package could I, you know, put it in? And third one, you know, how would I offer it to people, you know? So when we talked about those different things, you know, you draw little cartoons, and then finally they are on the socks, you know. So, and I still have those socks, like, you know, several years later, those socks have been traveling to Hawaii and, you know, Mexico and all those places. So really amazing. Those cartoons have their own life, you know, so really cool. And if you have questions about this topic, also don't hesitate to ask in the comments also after this goes up. And we are really, really grateful to be here and share these tips and tools from our lives.
Absolutely.
And I see who is here.
Male.
Male is here. Aloha, Male. Hawaii is here. Very cool. So do the tasks and enjoy. And I definitely know something really amazing will come out of it. And it will also give you a better idea about your character. Like, you know, I didn't really fit into a secretary job sitting there, but I took all the skills which I needed and I used those, you know, so.
Still to this day.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, you can choose, pick and choose, you know, what works, what doesn't work. So, and next week we'll see, maybe we have to do the live even Wednesday, because I will have that event Thursday, so we'll see if I manage. So we will talk about reverse motivation, and this is something people usually maybe don't talk about, but it actually works. It works magic. So I'll just give you one example, and then you can start to think also maybe you're ready for that matter. So when I was in South Africa, my professor told me, you, Crystal, should not start to pursue master's degree in anthropology. You are too stupid for that. So what do you think happened to me?
You worked harder to prove him wrong.
Yeah, so I went back like 9 months later and showed my first visual anthropology documentary in the same department. And we had a huge discussion with everyone present. And that professor was very quiet.
Yeah. As he should be, eating crow.
Yeah. So I love those moments. So reverse motivation can be such a gift in your life. It's just that sometimes we don't see it as that. So we will take that into focus, share some stories, and tell you also how you can turn it into magic. So who else came up?
Inga.
Yeah, Inga. Aloha.
Aloha.
So thank you so much. All the best. Lots of aloha. And I will also put our Infinite Activation store link here. We have several online classes which are actually available already now. We have Attract More Abundance, how to map your abundance blockages, and also the new time management. We have a couple of things there which you can see. Maybe there is something which you would already like to have, and we will have more to come in the future.
Absolutely.
Okay. Mahalo.
Mahalo.
All the best.